Hello. Oh wait, it's hello. 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 Hello, Mr. Harland fans. I almost said blues fans. There probably is a couple, and I don't care that there is. But hello, Mr. Harland fans, young and old. I don't know. But today we got another art thief who's also a burglar and claims to be the king of the cat burglars. Although he unfortunately passed away on March the 17th, 2013. His name is Peter Scott, though he was born Peter Greg Gulston on February the 18th, 1931. He was an Irish burglar and thief who was variously described as the king of cat burglars, burglar to the stars, and the human fly. Scott described himself as a master idiot. A master idiot. Wow. Okay, that's something. Scott was born Peter Craig Gulston in Belfast, Northern Ireland, into a middle-class military family. Following his father's death, his mother immigrated to the United States. Such a nice place. He had spent his father's inheritance by the time that he left the Belfast Railway Academy. In the 1965 film He Who Rides a Tiger, starring Tom Bell and Judi Dench, was made about Scott's exploits at the time of the film's release. Scott was in prison in Dartmoor and profited little from it. In 1995, Scott published a memoir, Gentleman Thief. Sounds like a good book. Although it's better than any one that was ever made in America. Probably. Because it's foreign. Usually something made in another country is better. Although not necessarily. But it really depends. In his last years, Scott worked as a tennis coach and tended the gardens of a church in Camden, North London. Scott was a participant on the 2004 Channel 4 program, The Heist, in which staged robberies were carried out. Scott was also the subject of an award-winning short documentary, My Friend the Thief. Wow, that's amazing. Made by Ronald Hutchinson. At the end of his life, Scott drove an old Mercedes-Benz given to him as a present by the son of Billy Hill, the London gangster. Wow. Amazing right there. That's just crazy. Scott was declared bankrupt at the end of his life. Wow, I'm having fun trying to speak today. My mouth and tongue just don't want to work today. Owing more than $400,000 to creditors. He was living on state benefits of 60 euros or whatever British money per week in an Islington council flat at the time of his death. Scott was married 4 times and survived by 1 son. Burglary. Scott began his life of crime in his teens, targeting wealthy homes around Belfast's Malone Road. By the time he was caught by the police in 1952, Scott estimated that he had committed 150 burglaries, attributing to his early success to his appearance. For those early crimes, he served 6 months in Crumlin Road Gaol, later claiming that the police had only charged him with 12 burglaries because of their embarrassment at the scale of his exploits. Adopting the surname Scott, he then moved to London while working as a pub bouncer in the West End of London. He burgled houses in the evenings. In prison in 1957, Scott met George Totters Chatham, then renowned as the most celebrated cat burglar in London. Working together, Scott and Chatham formed a criminal partnership that would net them many millions of pounds worth of art and jewelry. Wow. Following their successful targeting of furriers and jewelry boutiques on Bond Street and art collectors in Mayfair. From his initial term in the late 1950s, Scott spent increasing periods of time in prison after having been jailed for 3 years in 1961, 5 in 1964, and a further 4 years in 1985. Jesus. According to Scott, notable victims of his burglaries include famous performers such as Lauren Bacall, Marie Callas, Judy Garland. Who the fuck robs Judy Garland? Come on, man. That lady was... She was very cool, you know? She was in, what was that movie? Oh, yes, The Wizard of Oz. Somewhere over the rainbow. Oh, that was so cringeworthy. I can't do it. But I can think it, and I can hear Judy Garland just singing in my head. She was really good at it, and I love the movie. Gabor, Vivian Leigh, Sophia Loren, Shirley MacLaine, Elizabeth Taylor, never heard of her, and society figures such as John Aspinall, Soraya Khashoggi, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran. Another of Scott's claimed burglaries was Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, a crime that he claimed was covered up by a government-issued D notice, which prevented press coverage of the incident. Scott described himself as having been sent by God to take on some of the wealth that the outrageously rich had taken from the rest of us. When Scott cased Viscount Kemsley's Dropmore house, he saw a guest sitting down to dinner and likened himself to a missionary seeking his flock for the first time. I decided these people were my life's work. Scott purchased a new suit before each job so his presence would not be betrayed by his appearance. Disturbed during one burglary by a tilted lady who appeared at the top of the stairs, Scott shouted to her, "Everything's all right, madam," and she went off to bed thinking I was the butler. If Scott was disturbed on other occasions, he would reassuringly shout, "It's only me." In 1960, Scott stole $200,000 worth of necklaces from the Italian actress Sophia Loren, who was in the United Kingdom filming The Millionaires. Theft from Loren was described as Britain's biggest jewelry theft, but Scott netted just $30,000 from a fence for the necklace. Loren later pointed at him on television saying that she came from a long line of gypsies. You will have no luck. Scott subsequently lost every penny gambling in cans. In the 1950s and 1960s, Scott would identify victims by reading the society columns in the Daily Mail and Daily Express. Although he claimed to have retired from his life of crime in the mid-1990s, Scott was jailed for 3.5 years for handling stolen goods in 1998. His imprisonment stemmed from the 1997 theft of Pablo Picasso's painting Titi de Femme from an art gallery in Mayfair. Wow, you're an old fart probably by now, and you're claiming, "Oh, I retired." No, you didn't, you liar. Scott quoted poet William Ernest Henley to the police who arrested him, declaring that, "Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed." Scott would write that he had an obscene passion for larceny and described himself as a man who has made all the mistakes that vanity, envy, and greed create. He passed away, probably peacefully, on March the 17th, 2013. And that is it. Yes, that's it. That is it for today's video number 2. If you love today's video, feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comments section down below if you love today's video. And don't forget to share with friends and family. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. But I will see you all next Monday. And as one YouTuber put it, we shall do this very soon again, my friends. Oh! Wee! Ooh! Goodbye, everyone. See you all next Monday.